down and meet the opposition so that they have a dialogue. Actually, that is the goal of the opposition, that when we have a demonstration announced on a Wednesday, the town is deserted. How much is the government losing when we have people not reporting to work, the business is closed? It's a lot through taxes. So in one way, that tension achieve the goal of the organizers of the demonstration, so that at least we can have a dialogue. We can, the government can now come from high where it is to listen to our problems, what we are going through, as opposed when we have, and I'm not saying that it's effective, because if you see like in South Africa, we see the mandamano, they're in thousands. Yes, as opposed to Kenya when you have 100 and the tension is already high. So the organizers of Mandamano in Kenya, most of the opposition, they need to do better, in my opinion, to organize. They can even have 1 million people coming to town and just sitting down without destruction of property, without interfering with other people's normal life. Yes.
But do you think we should have a point of thinking these issues forward in terms of us having dialogue before having the protest? Because us doing it the way of protest and then dialogue, by the time we're getting to dialogue, a lot has happened. People have lost their lives. We have had the economy being quite affected in terms of loss of revenue due to the issue of political instability. Should we then as a country have retrospection in terms of having dialogue before going to the streets, looking into how the aftermath of protest quite affect not only our social lives but also the economy?
Absolutely, I agree with you. But you remember, even before we have this protest, there was call for national dialogue before even the opposition go on streets. And what the government said during that time, that you guys can demonstrate the way you like. For us, we are in office, we are working. You know what I call unresponsive government. Because at one point before we have this demonstration, the opposition has raised some issues. There may be genuine issues, but was it hard for the government to say, okay, what is this issue you are raising? And mostly the issue of the electoral body. You know, this is an issue that I think we as a country were not learning from it. It's an issue that occurs every successive election period. And even in the Waki report, there was a recommendation that we are not supposed to constitute that body 1 year to election. But that's what we did last year before elections. We have 5 commissioners joining the electoral body less than 5 years to election. What did we witness? Those commissioners, they were not part of the results that were announced. What did they do? They said that the process was sham, the process was opaque. So we as a country were not learning. I think for now, if now the oppositions are raising this issue of electoral body, let the government listen to them. If they want a process of the election panel to be done, let them be inclusive. If that's what will stop us from having every time, because right now, 1 year after elections, we have never moved out from that election process. And mark you, 1 year to election, it will be election. For in Kenya, we have election issues, so we are politicking the whole time. Yes.
Okay, now, finally, before we conclude this particular show and looking into how we can make the police administration, given that it is an independent body, the National Police Service, how can we make sure that the National Police Service does not use excess power and the opposition does not overstep their mandate? Is it that as a country we cannot look into our issues? Should we now call the international community? Because Raila Odinga had written to the International Criminal Court calling for them to look into what is happening, because now it seems that they cannot have an agreement on this particular issue. They feel the police administration has taken a side, and now they're looking for a neutral body to come and look into this particular issue. Should we now run to the international bodies to create a situation of calm when it comes to this particular protest between the government and the opposition?
Sometimes I hold the view that there are issues that we need to resolve as in our domestic way, that not all the time that we run to the international community. And this is an issue that when the demonstrations commenced, there's an approach that the government took, and it told the oppositions and whoever want to demonstrate, please liaise with the police officers, tell them or inform them where you intend to, which road you want to go, so that the police officer can provide security. But along the way, the government changed the tune. And I don't know whether whoever is advising the government is not doing enough, because if that was to proceed, the impact will not be felt to the point that we have the loss of life. If I say that today we are, even the students, sometimes we demonstrate. Mm-hmm. Yes. So if the oppositions can agree with the security apparatus, today we are walking Kenyatta Avenue, and then the police are there, ensuring that there are no goons, thugs, criminals that are taking advantage of the situation or the demonstration. And this, even we witness there's a certain day when the opposition were demonstrating, and people from Kibera, they majestically march towards town, but they were able to contain those elements of looting. They were able to tell the people that they were doing, they are participating in the demonstration, that you are not supposed to do this. So if that can be done, even running to the international community is not even called for. Secondly, the security apparatus. Right now, there has been an issue where we don't have the Inspector General even issuing a press briefing. And there are people who are saying that maybe, and we may be wrong, that the Inspector General is of a different view on how the Mandamano has been organized. It can be true, because what reason will the government give that where? Because that position of the Inspector General was a reform that came culminating to the 2010 Constitution, so that the executive does not, and most of the president does not have the direct power to use the police. And I find this interesting, because leading to general election 2022, the current regime, led by the president of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. Ruto, said that never again our police shall be used for political discourse. When we had the DCI making the arrests, or those people who are perceived to be not, we had them Tanga and then Kieleweke. So there was that. But that is what they are doing right now. If you can arrest Maina Njenga, don't produce it in court for 3-4 days, you arrest Babu Owino, are they not using the same? Okay. Yes.
So, Dr. Tobutu, do you think finally we are not in shortage of the law? The issue
we are not.
Implementation.
We are not. Only that we don't have that political goodwill for the implementations of the law.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Advocate Agutu, for your perspective concerning the issue of demonstration and the Constitution, and what the government and the opposition are doing about it, and where they're going wrong concerning that particular issue.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, that has been Advocate Agutu giving us his perspective concerning what the law says concerning demonstrations. It is clear that the government is sort of overstepping their mandate in terms of what Article 37 of the Constitution is saying, and what the Public Order Act is saying, and what the police administration is doing, to the point of unnecessary force on the protesters. On the other end, the issue of the government and the opposition, them not having a goodwill on this particular issue concerning the issues they are raising, to the extent that the Kenyans are suffering due to the protracted battle, or due to the tension between the two opposing sides. We hope that the talks that are ongoing, or they are set to start, spearheaded by the former Nigerian president Olusegun Obasanjo, will have a way forward. That's it for Law Matters. See you next week. Thanks for watching. I've been your host, IRENE MWANGI.